Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you're tuning in from. And in fact, I'm so excited, grateful for life, and inspiring to be with you here this morning as I welcome you to our first edition of the Forex Morning Mastery for the new week. Last week's trading session was quite a very interesting one as we were able to scoop in significant amounts of profit from all of the financial assets on our watch list last week. And in fact, I hope that we are going to be able to replicate our feats for last week, this week, even do better than that. So once again, I welcome you all for the Forex Morning Mastery. And for those who are joining us for the first time, I highly welcome you on board. And you might be asking that, what is this all about? Well, we come here together on a daily basis in anticipation of both the New York and London session, where we review our current positions and also anticipate and strategically position ourselves in such a way that we can catch any potential trading opportunity during the London and the New York session. In a matter of fact, this is a follow-up detail to my previous analysis. So on a weekly basis, weekends like this, I normally share a series of financial asset that we are going to be monitoring for the week. And for this week, we have the USDJPY, the GBPUSD, XAUUSD, and of course the USOilSPOT on our watch list for this week. So if you had not watched my video, it's very important to watch them, as watching this video will give you a background knowledge of where we are coming from, because basically what we are going to be doing here is going to simply be on the 1 hour time frame, which of course is our execution time frame. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of the levels, the structures we are able to identify here, giving us the trading opportunity we have, then you need to watch that video. And not only that, you can use that video as an educational guide to understanding how to use price action to identify or position yourself ahead of any trading opportunities. So I already have the link to those videos right in the description box of this current video, so you might want to check them out after the live session. And one thing about it is that they are duly timestamped, so you can easily navigate to whichever chapter of the video is of your interest. So once again, you are highly welcome on board. So as usual, let's confirm that we are good to go this morning. So I would like to see some feedbacks in the comment section as regards to the video and the audio quality of the session. Please let me know if there are any issues. If there are any distortions in the sound, please let me know so that I can do the appropriate adjustments to ensure that we have a better experience out here. So I look forward to seeing your comments in the comment box. So thank you very much. So with that being said, here we are going to be diving right into the business. And as usual, the first thing we want to be doing, as usual, of course, is to check on the economic calendar. As you all know, these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and of course specific technical patterns on the chart. And with the information, we can position ourselves in such a way that we can catch any potential trading opportunity prior, during, and even after the event. So right here on the economic calendar, on Monday, August 7, which is of course today, we focus on high impact event coming from the economic docket that will be affecting the assets on our watch list, which is the US economy, the United Kingdom, and of course the Japanese economy. This is basically based on the instrument on our watch list. But for today, August 7, we do not have any high impact event. So what I did here was to filter in the medium impact event. At least we should be able to have an insight into what to expect in the market environment we are reviewing for today. So the first medium impact event today is coming in about 3 hours from now, and that is the Fed's ACA speech. So ACA is the 11th president and chief executive officer of the 3rd District Federal Reserve Bank. So he's going to be having a speech in about 3 hours from now, and of course majority will want to be looking forward to that speech, as it will give us an insight into the monetary policy of the Fed's Reserve. Then I think about 15 minutes after that, Bowman is going to be having a speech. She took office as the member of the Board of Governors of the Fed, and we want to hear what she wants to say on today, which of course will be giving us an insight into what to look out for. Then the Bank of England's Peel speech. Peel is the Chief Economics and Executive Director of Monetary Analysis and Research of the Bank of England. So he's also going to be giving a speech, which of course will be very important in deciding where the pound sterling might likely be going for this week. Then we have the BRC like retail sales, which measures changes in the actual value of retail sales from participating companies with invaluable management information on regular and reliable basis. So we are going to be looking forward to what the data there will be, as a high reading is seen as positive for the pound sterling, while a low reading is seen as negative. So we have the previous data here at 4.2%, though we don't have a consensus yet, but I think probably before the event we will likely get something to gauge what the deviation is going to be like. So this one is coming much more later in the day. Then finally we have the labor cash earning year on year for the month of June, and this is coming in from the Japanese economic docket, and this indicator is released by the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, and of course it shows the average income before taxes per regular employee. So a higher income puts upward pressure over consumption, therefore an increasing trend in earning is inflationary for the Japanese economy. So a higher reading is considered to be positive for the Japanese yen. And from the previous data we have here, it came in at 2.5%. That is the previous data for the month of April. And then for the month of July, there is a consensus here of 1.6%, which is quite below the previous data. So that's a sign that we could be having a contraction. So we are going to be looking forward to what the actual data will be. And then from the Japanese economy, we have the current account NSA for the month of June. So this is released by the Ministry of Finance and is a net flow of current transaction, including goods, services, and interest payments into and out of Japan. So a current account deficit indicates that there is a net capital outflow from the source, and a higher reading is seen as positive for the Japanese yen, while a low reading is seen as negative. Now, the previous data came in at 1.862 billion Japanese yen, and the consensus projection are projecting a 1.395 billion Japanese yen. So there is a contraction into that one, which is not promising at the moment. So we are going to be looking forward to what the actual data is going to be. And you know what we do here as technical traders, all we want to be doing here is to try to sniff the current market structure to identify patterns, structures that we can use to guide and in fact position ourselves in such a way that we can catch this potential move prior, during, and even after this event. So with this information we have gathered here on the economic calendar, let's dive right into the business for today. I see your comments, Bill. Good morning, Bill. Glad to have you around. And thank you for that feedback. I really appreciate that. So I want to see that as a positive response, that the sound and the visuals are quite okay. So with that being said, here we will be diving right into the business for today. So the first financial asset on our watch list is, of course, the USOilSPOT. And remember, last week it was very, very profitable for us in this community as we took advantage of both bullish and bearish momentum before the week finally closed with a phenomenal bullish momentum, which we, of course, took advantage of. And so for those who are part of that profitable journey, well done to you guys for being on standby to be part of that move. Now that we are going into the new week, I already shared the video where I was able to identify structures on the 4 hours time frame, which we said we were going to use to guide our trading activity for today. So if you have not watched it, please go there and go through the link in the description box below to watch those videos so that you can have the background knowledge of what we are talking about here. So for those who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you'll definitely have gotten an update on the USOilSPOT on what I said will be happening for today. So let's open the USOilSPOT and let's see what we said this morning and how we are going to be managing our expectations on the USOilSPOT this morning. So here we are on my TradingView platform. So this morning here, I said that trading activities in US oil have been limited to the range between the $82.85 and the $82.20 level since the start of the week. It's worth noting that sellers have consistently pushed back around the $82.25 zone since last week Friday. Of course, we've been noticing that, indicating their strength in preventing bullish attempt to push the price higher. This situation raises the possibility of a potential reversal pattern such as a double top structure. To confirm this pattern, we need to closely observe how the price reacts around the $82.20 and the $82 zone to determine if there's truly a reversal pattern. And of course, when we have a reversal pattern, we need the breakdown of the neckline to confirm that truly price action is going to be reversing at that point. Now let's go back into the live chat here. If you had listened to that instruction there, you would have been on a sell position right now, as we see price action did break down the $82.20 level and of course the key level at the $82 area. Now what I was trying to explain in the commentary this morning as regards to the setup, the first thing we observed is this resistant line had the $82.85 level, which has of course been a determinant of selling pressure since last week Friday, as we saw here that despite the strong impulsive bullish move last week, we saw how as soon as price got into that area, we saw how sellers have been negating the bullish continuation to the upside. And the same thing happened this morning, as you will see, and that was why I was saying that we might likely be seeing a transition into a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. Now, to give a visual representation of what I'm talking about here, you will see the impulsive move all the way into the structure. Then we saw the rejection. Then this morning we saw another rejection where the $82.20 level, which happens to be the support line for the week, is serving as the neckline of that reversal pattern, giving us something to work with. And of course, the breakdown of that neckline will be what we are looking for to validate that reversal pattern, and that has already happened. As you will have seen by now, price has broken down the $82 area to incite a potential sell-off in this particular market. And you all know that this could be a retracement phase. In fact, it can be considered to be a counter trend opportunity considering the impulsive move. Now, the question at this point in time is how far will this bearish momentum go before another wave of bullish momentum will happen? So we don't know yet, but in that regard, for those who are taking advantage of this opportunity, well done to you for being on standby, as you will currently be running with about 45 pips in profit at this point in time. So you want to be moving your stop loss right now since price has moved significantly well in our favor. So moving your stop loss to the entry point seems most reasonable at this point in time while we wait and see how the market will be reacting to this below the key level going forward. And you know the fact that since price remains below our key level, we always want to look out for more selling opportunities. Now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, it's okay. The week is still very early. So from a technical standpoint, when we have a breakdown of structures such as what we have now, there is still a chance that price could still come back to retest the structure that was broken. It could be the $82 area or the $82.20 level, and this can be observed on the lower time frame. So if we have price come back to retest structures, then we want to see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the $82.20 level, and this of course will be what we need to confirm that sellers are here to dictate the pace, at least for the first half of this week, as we want to be joining a bearish move to the downside. So going into the London and New York session today, as long as price action remains below the $82.20 and the $82 area, which happens to be our key level for the week, we have no business buying the USOilSPOT unless something very, very significant happens. And of course, trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates if there is anything new that comes up on this current market structure. So these are my views here on the USOilSPOT. We still remain very bearish at this point in time unless we begin to see probably a double bottom structure, a reversal pattern breaking out of key levels. But if something interesting happens in that regard, I will definitely let you know in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform. So at this point in time, we have a sell position running. Let's secure our position and let's see how the market will play out in the next couple of hours. So these are my views here on the USOilSPOT. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Trust me, I am here and willing to be of help in that regard. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the next financial asset on our watch list. All right, so I see a couple of comments in the comment section. I see Kwaku Anim, good morning to you. It's been a while since I saw you. Trust you are doing very well. Richard Blackett, thank you very much for your feedbacks. I really do appreciate them. So how are you doing? Trust you had a wonderful weekend out there. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page and my explanations are well clear. And I do hope you've marked out this level so that you can use them as a reference point to guide your trading activities ahead of the New York and London session. So we shall be moving right into the next asset on our watch list. So the next asset on our watch list is the GBPUSD, and in fact Since the early hours of today, we have seen our price action has been confined within a range that is between the 1.27640 and the 1.27150 to give us an insight into the level of indecision at this particular point in time. And before we go into the details here, let's run through what my commentaries were this morning as regards to how we are going to be managing the GBPUSD, at least for the first half of this week. Now, on the GBPUSD, this was my commentary this morning. For those who are with me on TradingView and Telegram platform, you definitely are aware of this current setup we have here. So this morning I said that the GBPUSD is currently experiencing a range-bound trading environment with price oscillating between the 1.27640 and the 1.27150, reflecting the indecision in the market. Despite this uncertainty, it's worth noting that price holding above the key level highlighted in the video at the 1.27 along with the recently identified ascending trend line keeps the potential of an uptrend alive. However, we shall remain vigilant for a potential breakdown, retest of the support line and key level for selling opportunities at that point in time. So with that information here, let's go into the live chat and see what I said we are going to be doing. So right here on the live chat, this is what we have right here. So the first thing I observed was this ascending trend line, which of course has been holding since last week Thursday. Remember that as soon as price got into that zone, we begin to see buy pressure around that area. And coupled with the fact that price action remains above our key level for the week, which is situated at the 1.27, it's quite reasonable that we look out for buying opportunity. And you know how we use our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we want to look out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of buying an asset. Now, on the GBPUSD for today, we are not going to be selling unless this ascending trend line is broken to the downside. Now, to capitalize on the bullish momentum here, I think I should leave. Okay, let me thicken this ascending trend line so that it can buttress the importance of this trend line based on this current structure. So now to position ourselves for buying opportunity on the GBPUSD, I want to see price breakout of the 1.27640 level. So we are having a buy stop order anywhere above that level to capitalize on that bullish move. And since price still remains above that ascending trend line, the perspective of a bullish momentum is what we are holding right now in this market. So we are looking forward to the breakout of that resistant line to join an uptrend continuation to the upside. Now, if we are going to be selling the GBPUSD for today, then we would need to see a breakdown of both the ascending trend line and that support line we just identified, which of course is close to the key level for the week. So that zone, basically, we need a breakdown of that structure before we can start considering selling at this point in time. And if we are lucky, a retest of structure should be giving us further confirmation to be part of a bearish move for today. So let's see how the market will react to this area, to this range that we just identified here, and depending on what happens here will determine what our next line of action will be. So this is where our center of focus is for today. So let's see how the market will play out. A lot of patience is required. Let's wait and see what will happen. Are we going to be having a breakout of the resistant line, or are we going to be having the breakdown of the support line for trading opportunities? So let's see how this will play out for today. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the next instrument on our watch list for today. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume we are all on the same page, so we shall be moving right into the next asset on our watch list. I do hope you've marked these levels out on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. So the next asset on our watch list is my favorite, the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And from what we have here on the gold spot, it's quite interesting that despite the impulsive bullish momentum we saw on Friday, remember we saw our price action was within a range for the most part of the second half of last week. Remember, we saw this beautiful range here between the 1938 and the 1930 prior to the NFP data yet last week. Remember, we were in a sell position initially before we were taken out in a loss on that one before that breakout of the 1938 happened. Now, despite this strong signal that price action is likely going to be moving to the upside, the week has started on a very, very strong bearish note, as you will see here. So let's run through our commentary this morning on the XAUUSD on what I said we are going to be doing to manage our expectations for today. So right here on the XAUUSD, so for those who are with me on the TradingView and Telegram platform, you'll definitely have gotten an update in that regard. So I said here that XAUUSD appears to have a bearish tilt favoring the US dollar. With all the high impact event looming in the second half of this week, it is likely that we may experience an extended consolidation phase before witnessing any substantial price movement. Our attention is drawn to the possibility of a retest of the 1941 level, which could potentially trigger a selling opportunity. So now let's go back into the live chat and see what I'm talking about here. So the first thing we observed was this range where price action was initially confined within the $1,946.50 level and the $1,941 area, giving us an insight into the level of indecision during the first 7 to 8 hours of this week. Now, with a breakdown of the 1941, though if I was around, I would have taken advantage of this bearish move, but at that point in time, it was during the Asian session, and this part of the world, I'm still very much fast asleep at that point in time. But if you are taking advantage of that move at that point, well done to you for being on standby, as you will currently be running with about, let's see, about 48, 49 pips in profit if you are taking advantage of that move. But if you had missed out on that one, just like I did, well, the week is still very early, and there are still quite a lot of potential trading opportunities to take advantage of for the week. Now, we are going to be following a technical expectations here. So what does the technicalities of the structure says as regards to what is going on here? So there are two ways to which we can look at this. The first one is the potentials of buyers at this particular point in time. Now, let me zoom out a little bit so we can see what I'm saying here. So we remember that last week we saw a very strong impulsive bearish move that brought price into our week's key level at the 1930. So our key level for this week is the 1930 area. So if you do want to see how we got to identify this area, then you will need to watch my video on the XAUUSD, and I said the link is in the description box of this current video you are watching. So we saw price action fall into a range above the 1930, and with that sharp rejection as we saw here before the breakout, it's a clear sign that there is a lot of buying strength around this area, giving us clues that we might likely be seeing a reversal pattern. Now, with the breakout of that neckline of that reversal pattern at the 1938, we were of the opinion last week that we will be seeing an uptrend continuation, which of course is not happening based on what is really going on in the market right now. Then secondly, you would notice that as soon as price action tested the $1,946.50 level, we have been seeing some sharp rejection of that area, giving us clues of how strong the sellers are at that particular point, at that particular level in this market. So this has been going on since Friday of last week, and what we saw at the beginning of this week makes it more emphatic that we might likely be seeing a bearish move. And if we consider the strong bearish momentum since last week's trading session, it's much reasonable that we want to be taking into consideration the potentials of sellers. So for those who took advantage of this one right here, that is the breakdown of the 1,941, well done. But for us who missed out on this one, just like me, I'm thinking that we would need a retest of structure to confirm that truly sellers are in this market. So one of the things that we can be looking out for, since we already have a breakdown of the 1,941, is if price will come back to retest the structure. This will do us a whole lot of favor to get ready to be part of a downtrend continuation. So I'm of the opinion that if price comes back to retest anywhere between the 1,938 or the 1,941, let's look out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of a downtrend continuation. So if that happens, normally when we have this kind of situation and price action comes back into the zone, we scale down into our lower time frame to look out for probably reversal patterns or signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the 1,941 to join a decline. Now, there is one thing about the structure which I want to emphasize here, is that a breakdown of the 1,930 is the most important signal here that will confirm that sellers is going to be dictating the pace. Remember, this is a very strong area for buying power last week. So we want to see a significant breakdown of that structure to be able to be part of the bearish move to the downside. So let's see how the market will play out at this area, and if there are any new setups that comes up, I will definitely be sharing them with you on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. Now, before I close on the XAUUSD, let's look at this together. This setup here on the 50 minutes time frame. Let's see if we can have a pattern to use to guide our trading activities for today, just in case price does not climb to as far as the 1,941 for the downtrend continuation. So let's see if we can find something to work with. So I will scale down into my 15 minutes time frame, and here on the 50 minutes time frame, this is what we can see here. The first thing first is the fact that price action has been finding lower highs, and when you find lower highs, the next thing you want to be doing is to connect the series of lower highs to give us a trend line that we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for today. Then in addition to that trend line is a key level around the $1,960, $936.50 level, right? Okay, so this is what we are going to be using. So we want to label this area. So we have the $1,936.50 level, which you of course want to be marking out on your chart right now. And for the fact that we have a descending trend line at this juncture in the market, you know that as long as price remains below that descending trend line, we shall feel comfortable in a sell position, looking out for more opportunities to sell. And with the breakdown of the $1,936.50 level, this also confirms selling potential in this market. But remember that we had a very strong support line at the 1,930, and of course the 1,930 is our key level for the week, and as long as price remains above that key level, there is chances that buyers could still come in the market too as well. So if we are going to be capitalizing on this move, a breakout of the 1,936 will welcome buying opportunities. That is how we are going to be capitalizing on a bullish momentum. Then we can now add more positions at the levels we identified on the 1 hour time frame. But if price remains below the 1,936 level, then a breakdown of the $1,934.50 level will be welcoming selling opportunities for us. So let's have this level also marked out on our chart. So we have the $1,934.50 level marked out, where a breakdown of that structure will be welcoming that downtrend continuation. But if price remains above this level, breaking out of this descending trend line, we have no other choice than to start looking out for buying opportunities. So it's a very simple setup we have here. So I will be updating this on both my platforms very shortly, but this is what we are going to be using to guide our trading activities going forward. So you want to have the 15 minutes time frame marked out just as I've done. So let's see how the market will react to the structure. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before we move on to the last asset on our watch list for today. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are on the same page on the XAUUSD. So I will just move on to the next financial asset on our watch list, and I do hope you've marked out these levels on your chart. So the next asset on our watch list for today, and of course this is going to be the last instrument we are going to be looking at, and that is the USDJPY. So we can see here that the week has started on a very strong bullish momentum after breaking out of that range. So let's run through our commentary this morning on the USDJPY on how we are going to be managing this current market structure we have on the 1 hour time frame. So this is my commentary on the USDJPY this morning. Very short one. We said we've just witnessed a breakout of the key level identified in the video at the 141.00 as the new week starts with a bullish tone. It is crucial to monitor how the market behaves above this level. A potential retest of the resistance line for the week could create favorable buying opportunities. So let's go back into the live chat and let's see what is going on here. So if you want to understand how we got to this point, please watch my video on the USDJPY. You have a detailed analysis on how we were able to identify especially our key level for the week, and of course you know how we use our key level here in this community. For those who have been with us, as long as price remains above our key level, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of buying. And if price drops below our key levels, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of selling. Now, with the situation we have on the USDJPY as of this morning, the first thing we observed was a consolidation phase. Actually, price was confined within that range between the 141.990, which of course falls around our key level for the week, and at the 141.550. So we had a beautiful range there before we finally saw the breakout of the structure during the early hours of today. Personally, if I had been around, if I was awake while this was happening, I would have taken advantage of that bullish move. But it's okay, we missed out on that opportunity. And for those who are able to capitalize on the Asian session, well done to you. as you will currently be running with about, let's say how many pips that is, about 30 pips in profit at this point in time. But this does not really mean that a bullish momentum is going to be valid at this point. Personally, I will still need a retest of structure to happen. And one of the reasons why I have said this is this. Now, look at what has been going on since the second half of last week, Thursday to be precise. You would notice that price action has been finding lower highs in this particular market, giving us clues into how strong the sellers are at this point in time. And in fact, it's a breakout of this descending trend line will be a beautiful signal that we are likely going to be seeing an uptrend continuation this week. But as long as price still remains below that descending trend line, the potentials of sellers cannot be ignored at this point in time. So like I said in my commentary this morning, we already have a breakout of the 141.990 and of course the 142, which happens to be our key level. And from a technical standpoint, when we have a breakout of such a structure, we expect price to come back, retest that structure, and the appearance of buy pressure will welcome a bullish opportunity. Now, the question at this point in time is, will price action come back and retest that structure? What if price does not come back and retest that structure and instead it continues to find higher highs? Now, to capitalize on an uptrend continuation pattern, we would need levels to use to guide our trading activity. So bringing out our line chart, the highest point where price action has been for this week is the 142.300 level. And if we go to as far back as Thursday's trading session, you will see how that level 2 was at some point respected. So I want to be marking out this level, which of course you want to be doing too as well. So we have the 142.300 level marked out on our chart, as we are going to be using this as a yardstick to guide an uptrend continuation. I will be showing you how important that level is in a moment, but let's label it first of all. Okay, so we have the 142.300 marked out on our chart. Now, with the situation we have here, you will see how that level also shares a beautiful confluence with that descending trend line. Now, if price action breaks out of both the descending trend line and of course that level, it will be a good sign that we are going to be going bullish, as the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate that bullish attempt. So a breakout retest definitely will welcome buying opportunities in this particular market. So if price does not drop to the downside to retest the 142.0 level for an uptrend continuation, then a breakout of the 142.300 should be what to look out for to capitalize on an uptrend continuation. So I'm looking forward to, hold on a second, what's happening here? So I'm looking forward to another breakout of the 142.300 and that descending trend line to capitalize on an uptrend continuation. So let's see how the market will play out here. But if there are any interesting setup that comes up along the line that is contrary to what we talked about here, of course I will be sharing them with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform. So this is how we are going to be trading the USDJPY, buying the USDJPY for today. So if price action does not break out of the structure and instead it drops into the 142 and below it, then I will start considering selling pressure if buyers find it difficult to climb back above the 142.00 area. Then a further breakdown of the 141.550 will welcome more selling opportunities in this market. So this is how we are going to be managing our trades on the USDJPY today. Very simple setup we have here. So you do want to be marking out these levels, as this is what we are going to be using to manage this trade on the USDJPY, at least for the first half of this week. So I think on this note, I want to be calling it a day here. Let me see if there are any questions as regards to what we talked about today. If there are any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking, as usual, the next 10 to 15 seconds, and if there are none, then we'll just call it a day here. So let's see if there are any questions whatsoever. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page, and all I've said here are well explanatory enough, and I do hope you've marked out your levels on your chart. Let's see how the market will play out going forward. So it's still the very first half of the week, so we don't need to be compulsive in our decision at this point in time. Let's allow our setup to mature, and once we can capitalize on that move, then we can afford to be compulsive a little bit, leveraging on the profit we had made so far at the beginning of the week. I think I see a comment here from John Alabi. He's asking that, are we looking for selling opportunity? Apologies, I missed first part of the conversation. Okay, so let's quickly run through the XAUUSD one more time, and let's give a quick recap of what we talked about on that asset. So like I was saying here on the XAUUSD, we noticed there are a lot of things that guides the trading activities here, so you need to listen to me attentively. Now, the first thing we observed here last week, if you are with us, you'll remember that we had this consolidation phase prior to the NFP data, and we saw how sellers struggled around the 1,930 area, giving us clues of how strong the buyers are around that area. Then one interesting thing we saw was this engulfing bullish candle, which of course lies through the resistance of that range at the 1,938 to signal a potential bullish momentum. Now, from a technical standpoint, this should be an opportunity to buy. However, the continued selling pressure we noticed at the $1,946.50 level is coupled with the bearish momentum we witnessed last week, is changing the narrative of this bullish momentum. So we need to be very, very careful around this area. Then one thing we noticed during the early hours of this week was this range where price action was initially confined within the $1,946.50 level and the 1,941 area to give us an insight into the level of indecision at that point in time. And you know how we do it in this community. When we have a range like this, the chances that we look out for trading opportunities lies at either the breakout or the breakdown of that range. And what we saw here during the early hours was quite an interesting breakdown retest of that support line to signal a potential bearish move. And I said I missed out on this opportunity simply because this happened during the Asian session, and I was fast asleep when this happened. So what I was saying here is that we want to be patient if you had missed out on that opportunity to see if the market will come back to retest the structure. So what we are looking forward to now is a retest of anywhere around the 1,941 and the 1,938 area. So what we are going to be looking out for here is a reversal pattern, and this will be clearer on a much more lower time frame. So in this kind of scenario right now, it appears we're beginning to see some buy traction around this area, which could probably incite a retracement back into structure to look out for selling opportunities to join the bearish momentum to the downside. So let's see if this is going to happen. If it does happen, that is, if we get into this area and we begin to see selling pressure around this area, then we want to get ready for a bearish momentum, probably below the 1,938 to join the decline to the downside. And I told you that I mentioned that the 1930 needs to be broken to feel comfortable in the sell position. So even if we join a bearish move at a retest of the structure, we'll still need the breakdown of the 1930 for a very good confirmation that sellers will be dictating the pace here. So if we are joining the sell momentum, we must be on standby to move our stop losses accordingly to protect our position against any sudden pullback. Now, to further make things a little bit easier, we went to as far down as the 15 minutes time frame to look out for a simple setup to make things much more easier for us. Now, on the 15 minutes time frame, this is what we were able to spot on the XAUUSD market. So already we have a breakout of that structure right now. So this is what we were able to spot on the 15 minutes time frame. So we saw this descending trend line after connecting the series of lower highs, giving us a beautiful bearish momentum. And you know how we use our trend lines in this community. As long as price remains below the trend line, we feel comfortable in our sell position, but a breakout of that trend line will definitely welcome buying opportunities. So I said here that we have a level here at the $1,936.50 level, which of course shares a confluence with that descending trend line, and a breakout of that level will welcome buying opportunities. So if you have the buy stop order around that area and it has been triggered, well, it's okay, well done, you are still in line with this trading setup. Just ensure you have your stop loss in place, which will fall below the previous low here, which dovetails to about 20 pips stop loss on this one. But if you had missed out on that one, let's see if the market will come back to retest the structure to incite another wave. It could retest the structure or retest the descending trend line that was broken to incite an uptrend continuation. And the only thing that will make us sell here is price breaking down the $1,934.50 level to join a bearish momentum. So at this point in time, things are looking very reversal in nature. Breakout of both the descending trend line and the $1,936.50 level gives an idea that we could be seeing a reversal move during the first half of this week. So let's see how the market will react to the structure. So this was my simple explanation here, and I told us all that we should hold on to this 15-minute setup, which we identified here, to guide our trading activities going forward. So let's see how this will play out. I hope I made myself very clear. John Alabi, please let me know in the comment section if that was explanatory enough. So I think I will just take another 10-15 seconds to see if there are any more questions before we draw the curtain for today. All right, John. Okay, okay, that's good. You're welcome. I'm glad you found that well explanatory. So let's see how the market plays out around this juncture. So this is what we are simply going to be using to guide our trading activity on the XAUUSD. And if there are any new setups or anything that comes contrary to what we discuss here, of course, I will be with you in the comment section of both my trading view and Telegram platforms to give you updates on what we are going to be doing next. So it's on this note I want to call it a day here, and for the XAUUSD live monitoring window, it's going to be coming up in about 5-10 minutes prior to the New York session begins. I don't have the link right now. I will be preparing the link, and trust me, I will be sharing them with you on my public platform, the Telegram platform, and ensure you subscribe to the channel so that you can get a notification whenever we come on live on the XAUUSD live monitoring window. So the XAUUSD live monitoring window is a platform which we started about a month ago, I think, and it was based on popular demand, where majority were clamoring for the gold. So we decided to kickstart that session. So it's basically about monitoring the XAUUSD live here during the New York session, and how we enter positions, how we manage our positions, how we capitalize on trading opportunities, how we add more positions to our existing trade. So that's basically what we do there. So you want to be part of that session. It promises to be interesting and engaging, as well as you can comment in the comment section and follow us through as we take on trading opportunities on the XAUUSD. So you want to be part of that session 5-10 minutes prior to the New York session today, and ensure you subscribe so that you can get a notification whenever we come on live. So on this note, I wish you all the best of luck. I'm quite confident that we are ready to hit the market, as we already simulated all the potential trading opportunities across the USOilSPOT, the GBPUSD, USDJPY, and of course the XAUUSD for today. So let's see how the market will play out. And please, if you have found this content helpful in making your independent trading decision for today, please support the project by clicking the thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact it helps the YouTube algorithm to identify the video and push it to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them. Thank you in advance for doing so, and I look forward to seeing you all in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye bye.